There's a stretch of land in South Australia known as Oak Park, a place where the horizon feels endless and silence carries weight. Locals say it's not the kind of land you walk on casually. Out there, even people who have lived their whole lives in the bush keep a healthy fear of the distance, the heat, and how fast things can change. When a young boy disappeared from that property, it wasn't just another headline. It was something that struck at the core of every family living in remote Australia. A place where everyone knows the dangers, and still, something like this can happen. The story caught national attention. A 4-year-old, last seen near his grandparents' home, suddenly gone. Massive searches, helicopters, volunteers, professionals, all combing through the same red soil, again and again. Yet, weeks later, there are still no answers. But locals, the people who live and work near Oak Park, say there's something strange about the land itself. Not in a supernatural way, but in how unpredictable and unforgiving it can be. They talk about the sudden drops in terrain, hidden water holes, animal tracks that mimic small footprints, and how quickly the wind can erase signs of movement. In this video, we'll look at those local perspectives. What makes Oak Park so hard to search? Could the landscape itself be the reason no trace has been found? And why do some residents quietly suggest that the area holds more questions than the public has heard? This isn't speculation or gossip. It's about understanding what searchers are up against and why people in the community believe the answer might still lie close to home, hidden in plain sight. If you're following this case, make sure to like this video and subscribe. We break down real events carefully and respectfully, and in the comments, share your thoughts. What do you think makes this particular land so challenging? Could the terrain itself be the missing piece in understanding what happened to Gus? Oak Park isn't the kind of place most people would visit unless they had to. It's vast, dry, and brutally quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavy, almost watchful. Surrounded by endless plains and stony ridges, the property sits in the middle of Australia's outback, where the line between civilization and wilderness starts to blur. Those who know the region say it's easy to underestimate. The ground is uneven, the heat is unforgiving, and the landscape can disorient even people who've spent their whole lives there. What looks like a straight path can suddenly drop into a dry creek bed or twist into a maze of scrub and rocks. During the day, the sun burns through the horizon. At night, darkness falls so quickly it feels like the world simply disappears. When search teams first arrived, they were confronted with just how extreme the conditions were. Tracks fade fast in the outback. The soil is powdery, and even a light gust of wind can erase footprints within minutes. Wildlife also adds confusion, as animals like kangaroos and goats leave marks that can easily be mistaken for human movement from a distance. The scale of the land is another challenge. A few hundred meters might not sound like much, but when there are no roads, no fences, and no visible markers, a person can become lost almost instantly. For a child, even wandering a short distance from a familiar spot can mean being surrounded by nothing recognizable, only vast, repeating patterns of red dirt and bush. Some locals have quietly mentioned that Oak Park seems to play tricks on people. They talk about strange echoes that make it hard to tell where sounds come from, and a dry wind that changes direction without warning. Old station hands say the area has a way of confusing your sense of distance. Things that appear close might actually be far away. For search crews, that meant they were fighting more than time. They were fighting the landscape itself. Every hill, every shadow, every dry creek could hide something vital. In a place this remote, even with helicopters, drones, and ground teams, it's possible for something or someone to vanish completely. And that's why, to this day, some locals whisper that the land around Oak Park doesn't just hide things, it keeps them. In the small towns surrounding Oak Park, everyone knows about the case. It's the kind of story that never leaves the air, whispered in cafes, gas stations, and roadside pubs. People talk in low tones, careful not to sound insensitive, but they can't help wondering if something about the land itself is unusual. Many residents describe the area as different, not haunted or cursed, but somehow unsettling. Some say that technology behaves strangely out there. Phones lose signal even where maps show strong reception, and radio static rises for no clear reason. Others recall that during the early days of the search, dogs that were usually calm grew uneasy, refusing to move in certain directions. A few longtime locals mention older stories, incidents of travelers who got turned around in the bush and ended up walking in circles for hours. Others say the terrain near Oak Park seems to distort sound, so voices and footsteps echo in unpredictable ways. "It's not supernatural," one man reportedly said. "It's just the kind of country that reminds you nature's still in charge." Then there are those who focus on timing. The day Gus vanished, the weather had shifted suddenly. A short window of strong wind and temperature drop that evening. Some locals believe that this could have contributed to the confusion, making it easier for a small child to wander further than anyone realized, and harder for search teams to track scent or movement. But not everyone agrees on the cause. Some believe the land simply holds its secrets. Others think there must be something more, an overlooked detail, a spot not yet searched, or a truth no one wants to admit. What unites them, though, is the shared sense that Oak Park has a presence, silent, vast, and somehow untouched by all the chaos surrounding it. As one resident put it, "You can search every inch of that place, but out there, it's the land that decides what gets found." As the weeks passed, something began to unsettle the nearby communities even more, a sense of patterns repeating themselves. People started drawing quiet connections between Gus's disappearance and other unexplained incidents in the same region over the years. It wasn't always about missing persons. Sometimes it was livestock, sometimes equipment, or even vehicles that turned up far from where they were last seen. Old-timers recalled stories of travelers who broke down along back roads and ended up walking for miles in the wrong direction, despite clear tracks leading elsewhere. To them, it wasn't superstition. It was just how unpredictable that part of the country could be. Locals began pointing out coincidences that felt impossible to ignore. For instance, they said it's not the first time search parties have had trouble using GPS or radios around that area. Even drones reportedly lost signal during earlier searches, something that fed the belief that Oak Park sits in an electromagnetic dead pocket. Another strange detail often mentioned was the stillness. Some volunteers said that while combing through the bush, there were moments when everything, birds, wind, even insects, went silent. A few described it as eerie, others as peaceful. But everyone remembered it vividly. Then came whispers of sightings, not of Gus himself, but of strange shapes or flickers in the distance. Nothing concrete, nothing proven, but enough to spark online speculation. Were people simply seeing what they wanted to see? Or was there something about that landscape, the way the light hits the red earth at dusk, that plays tricks on the eyes? For many, these coincidences weren't about mystery or myth. They were reminders that the outback is unpredictable, and even the most organized search can be thrown off by terrain, weather, and time. But to others, these repeating patterns suggested something deeper, not supernatural, but systemic. Something that might explain why cases like this feel so hauntingly unresolved. Reports: Oak Park remains a place that offers few answers and endless questions. To outsiders, it might just look like another stretch of remote farmland, quiet, open, and ordinary. But to those who've been there, it carries a strange, heavy atmosphere that's hard to put into words. The property spans thousands of hectares, filled with gullies, bushland, and uneven ground. Every hill looks like the last. Every path can lead in circles. Locals who've lived there for decades say that unless you grew up on the land, it's incredibly easy to lose your bearings, even just a few hundred meters from home. That's what makes Oak Park both beautiful and terrifying. It's not that there's anything magical about it, it's that it's isolating. Phone signals fade, GPS systems glitch, and even the sound of voices doesn't travel as far as it should. It's a place where a few minutes of confusion can turn into a full-blown emergency, and yet the questions remain. How could someone vanish without a single trace? Why didn't the tracking dogs pick up more? Why did the search efforts, span from helicopters to drones to divers, come up with nothing at all? Police say there's no evidence of foul play, and experts maintain that the area was searched thoroughly. But to those close to the case, that explanation doesn't settle the unease. It feels like something doesn't add up, not because of conspiracy, but because nature doesn't usually erase things so completely. Even with advanced search technology, trained teams, and days of effort, not one personal item, not one footprint beyond the initial one, not one solid clue has surfaced. For many in the community, that's what's hardest to accept, not knowing whether to hold on to hope or let go. Some believe that Oak Park itself is the answer. Its vastness, isolation, and unpredictable conditions could explain everything. Others quietly wonder if there's something they're all missing, something hidden, something human, or something environmental that no one has quite seen yet. But until that missing piece is found, Oak Park will remain more than just a location on the map. It's a question mark, one that refuses to fade. Among those who live near Oak Park, there's a quiet belief that something about the area isn't quite right. It's not that they're pointing fingers or chasing wild rumors. It's more of a shared feeling, one that people mention carefully, usually after a long pause. Locals say that Oak Park can play tricks on you. The land seems endless, with its repeating hills, long fence lines, and dry creek beds that look identical from every direction. People who've worked or lived there for decades have spoken about moments when they've lost their bearings completely, even in broad daylight. One resident described how at certain times of day the wind carries sound in strange ways. You can hear a motorbike or a voice that seems close by, only to find it's actually far away. In a place that vast, confusion sets in fast, and if a small child wandered off, even by a few hundred meters, it could take minutes to lose sight and hours to relocate them. There are also stories passed around quietly, not supernatural, but unsettling. Animals behaving oddly, lights seen in the distance that turn out to be nothing, equipment that stops working without reason. Most dismiss these as coincidences, the kind that come with life in the outback. But to those who know Oak Park well, it all feeds into the same question. Why does this land seem to resist answers? And then there's the human side. Locals know how deeply the disappearance has affected the family. They speak carefully, not out of suspicion, but out of empathy, because grief in a small community cuts deep. Many have stopped discussing the case openly, believing that the truth, when it comes, will reveal itself in time. Still, behind closed doors, people wonder, could there be something hidden out there, a place missed, a clue buried, a moment overlooked? The police have ruled out foul play, but the silence, the emptiness, and the lack of closure make those theories hard to quiet down. Oak Park has become more than just a property. It's a symbol of loss, confusion, and the limits of human understanding when faced with nature's vastness. While police teams and experts have combed the ground, skies, and water around Oak Park, some now believe the next step isn't just about distance, it's about depth. The land has been searched multiple times, the dam drained, and every track mapped out. Yet there's a growing sense, even among locals, that perhaps something has been overlooked, not in negligence, but because of how unpredictable the terrain truly is. Satellite images, mapping drones, and infrared scans have been used, but Oak Park's rough surfaces, deep cracks, eroded creeks, and thick scrub can easily conceal something small from even the most advanced equipment. And while experts assure that every logical area was covered, questions remain. Was there a section missed because it looked impossible or too unlikely? Some locals think the search should expand beyond the immediate property, maybe further into the surrounding hills or the connected cattle routes that stretch for kilometers. These are areas where a small figure could wander, unnoticed, especially in the fading light of late afternoon. Others suggest taking a fresh look at the data, the timeline, the wind direction, the position of the sun that day. Tiny variables like these can change everything about where a person might have gone. Meanwhile, investigators continue to balance hope and realism. They know the odds, but they also know that sometimes, in cases like this, the key to finding what's lost isn't in what was already searched. It's in where people haven't thought to look yet. As one local quietly said, if there's anywhere left to search, it's not just the land we see, it's the places we've already stopped looking. Even after weeks of searches, briefings, and updates, the community around Oak Park is left with more questions than answers. How could a child simply vanish in an area surrounded by open land and family? How did search teams, equipped with advanced tools and guided by experts, find no clothing, no trace, no sign of struggle, nothing? These questions are not whispers anymore. They're the thoughts echoing in every household that's followed this case. locals have begun to piece together their own theories, not out of accusation, but confusion. Some think the land may be hiding its own secrets, an unmarked well, a hidden cave, or perhaps a section of the property that's yet to be thoroughly explored. Others believe it's not about where he went, but how quickly the landscape itself can erase evidence. Strong winds, dust storms, even shifting ground. Then there's the human question. Whether something small was missed early on when the search first began. Was the timeline fully clear? Did anyone see or hear something they dismissed as ordinary that afternoon? In rural communities like this, people often keep to themselves, but that can mean crucial details stay unspoken. Each unanswered question adds to a silent weight that the town carries. Every time someone drives past the Oak Park turnoff, they slow down, not just out of curiosity, but respect, because to them, it's not just the site of a mystery. It's a place where a little boy vanished and left an entire region searching for meaning as much as for answers. And so, even as official search teams pull back, the story of Gus Lamont continues to live in every unanswered what if. As it stands, authorities have not declared the case closed. The disappearance of Gus Lamont remains under active investigation, with Task Force Horizon still reviewing new data, analyzing reports, and revisiting earlier evidence. Police have made it clear they are not giving up. What's happening now is a slower, more methodical phase. Instead of large-scale search operations, investigators are focusing on reviewing search patterns, re-examining witness statements, and analyzing environmental data from the days surrounding the boy's disappearance. Every temperature drop, every gust of wind, every terrain scan matters when the margins of survival and visibility are this narrow. There are also plans, though unconfirmed, for another targeted return to Oak Park. Not a full search like before, but a deeper dive into certain overlooked areas. Police have said this decision would depend on new information or refined search data, meaning experts may be looking at satellite images, geological maps, or even scent tracking records to identify any missed clues. Meanwhile, the community continues to support the Lamont family quietly. Locals still leave candles and flowers near the property gate, symbols of hope and of a tragedy that feels deeply personal. For the police, it's now about closure, finding Gus, whatever that means, and giving the family and the community peace. But for those who have followed the story since day one, the case has grown beyond a missing person investigation. It's become a reflection of how fragile safety can feel, even in the most peaceful corners of the world. Until there's an answer, Oak Park will never truly rest. As we reach the end of this discussion, one truth remains. The disappearance of Gus Lamont still raises more questions than answers. A child vanished in a quiet stretch of rural Australia, and despite one of the most extensive search efforts in the region's history, no trace has been found. For many, this story is more than news. It's a reminder of how uncertainty lingers long after headlines fade. The land has been searched, the dams drained, and the experts consulted. Yet what happened that day continues to puzzle even the most experienced investigators. It's easy for the public to speculate, but behind all the theories and discussions are real people, a family still waiting, a community still hoping, and officers still looking for that missing piece of truth. So now we turn to you. What do you think happened at Oak Park that day? Was it something simple that became lost in the vastness of the land? Or is there something about this place that we've all overlooked? Share your thoughts in the comments. We read every one. If you want to stay updated on any new findings or developments in this heartbreaking case, don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell. Your engagement helps us keep investigating stories that matter, stories that deserve answers. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep asking questions.